Since we now know that to do tshuva means have rachmanas on your neshama, and to break the fact that klipa is controlling you, that you've been, so to speak, enslaved, exiled to klipa, so you have to break it, right? How do you break it? How do you break the stranglehold of klipa on a person? Says the Rebbe, when a person breaks and crushes his heart. So what's the carbon to Hashem? Ruach nishbar, a broken spirit of klipa. And how do you have a broken spirit of klipa? Through leiv nishbar, by breaking the heart of the person. How does the person break and crush his own heart? How do you make yourself feel terrible enough that you kill the stranglehold of klipa on kedusha? A little bit. It's through punishing the body and fasting. But it's only a tiny little bit. In our generations. Because we don't have the power to fast a lot. David HaMelech was able to fast a lot. He was pushed physically healthier, and he was a bigger tzaddik, so he punished his body and so forth. Kemaim, as Al Digmar says on the pasuk, David HaMelech says that his heart is hollow within him. And the Gemara translates Shahagi b'tainis. He killed it through tainis. So for a person like David HaMelech, he fasted a lot and he beat up his guf a lot. We don't have that ability, but a little bit we do it. However, the primary in of bending the heart, be broken and crushed, so that it will affect us to remove the spiritual hold that klipa has on us. To be a person who's a master of cheshbon, to constantly take stock of where you're holding an avodas Hashem, called cheshbon hanefesh, with deep delving of the mind, to delve one's knowledge and understanding. An hour each day or night, and the ideal time for it is before midnight. Again, he doesn't say kishmish alamita, he says tikni chatzos. I don't know why, and that is lihizbain, and to contemplate b'mashapol v'yasa, to in what he did and what he accomplished b'chatav through his avedis. Okay, and I'll continue this in a moment. In Tanya Perek Chav Tes, the Alter Rebbe brings Mara de Chushbana. But in Chav Tes, Mara de Chushbana is talking about a person who has no Avedis. His only problem is, he uses the same term, but a totally different Madrege. In Tanya Perek Chav Tes, Mara de Chushbana is a person who has no Avedis. He's simply calculating if he ever did something that was not only L'Shem Shamayim. Here it's Pachat Balabatish, to think about the Avedis and the impact of the Avedis. Like we've discussed many times, the problem with Aveda is that it's a Merida b'Malach Macham Lacham HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You didn't listen to Hashem, which is terrible, but that's only one moment. Correct? In addition to the idea that Aveda is a Merida, there's something called a Pagam. And the Pagam lasts until you correct it. And the Pagam has two aspects. Number one, B'chinas Golos HaShechina Kanal, that you're causing the Eibush Tezalakus, which is called the Hey Tata and Hey Elot, to go into Golos. V'gam, in addition, Godam, you're causing Lak and Nishma Sei, to separate your own Nishama. The kiss and your own godly soul from its connectedness to the Eibishter, and has lowered it to the place of spiritual uncleanness and death. Hein, which are the chambers of Klipa. Venasis, and this person's neshama becomes your neshama is forced to become a chariot to carry the tumah and the klipa, the sitter achra, lekabav shafa v'chayis, to get from klipa flow of life, lashpia lagufa canal, to give chayis to his body, canal, we discussed earlier in Perek Vav, that in the times of Golos it could be eating from klipa, and that's why he could live longer than 50 or 60. I think it's a medish, I don't think it's a gemara. At the Rishoyim b'chayim kruyim mesim, Rishoyim during their lifetime are called dead. Claim, in other words, that since shechayim nimshacham, their life extends, mimakam from a place of death and spiritual uncleanness. Therefore, when a person is living from klipa, he is klipa. When a person is living from death, he is death. The meaning of the word death doesn't mean it's dead now. It means it will die eventually. Anything which is going to die eventually is called death from the outside. Everything dies eventually, except the neshama, except the lukus, except yetlachkai. It says, the dead cannot praise Hashem and so on. It says that when the pasuk says the dead don't praise Hashem, he's not making fun of poor people. They cannot speak and they can't praise Hashem. It goes on to show him. While they're alive, they're called dead. They're so overwhelmed and so confused by bad thoughts while they're in a state of sinfulness, and therefore they don't desire to do tshuva, as it is known, and therefore they're alive, but they're like dead, and they have no interest in repenting and doing tshuva. So this is what happens to. This is what Avedis are, and this is what Tshuva is. Tshuva is to resensitize oneself to Lakus, to disconnect us from A, getting life from Klippa, and B, from giving life to Klippa. And how is it done? By having Rachmanas of the Nitza Lakus, and by breaking our hearts. And by breaking our hearts, we're breaking the stranglehold that Klippa has on us. Okay?
The Neshama never dies.
Right, but the Neshama of Klippa does die. And Koras and Misa, Rachmanas could affect in Nefesh Lakis also a inyan for Hepech HaChaim. Right? That's what the idea of Koras we had before, no?
But even
not the Makif, the part of the Neshama which is Maslabish Neguf. But you should know that Chiesa Mason brings back all the Gufas of Yidden who did and mitzvahs. And the Mashma says that the physical things, the Cheftzeh Shal Mitzvah, the physical things which with they performed mitzvahs also comes back.
So the whole Guf will come back. If they did mitzvah with every part about it. But then what's chorus and Mechenik Lamab then?
No, that's different. Bepashtas, those people don't have Chiesa Mason. This is where the halachas come in, the different shittas, the Ramban. And the Rebbe's essay where he basically squeezes everybody into Chiesa Mason, into Elam Haba. Ebe Gilgul Zeh, Ebe Gilgul Ache.